Happy Friday. I saw some of you this morning, and it's good to see you, and enjoy your spring break. And here in the meantime is chapter 6, No Room on the Boat. And we're still reading Ranger in Time, Rescue at Hurricane Katrina. When Claire couldn't hold the axe any longer, she dropped it and collapsed against the wall. Tears streamed down her cheeks, and she let out a sob. Ranger sloshed over to Claire and nuzzled her hand, and that made her cry even harder. Even the dog was depending on her, but her arms were just too tired. The flood was going to swallow them up. How long would it be? An hour? 2 hours? Claire looked down at the water around her knees. Had it finally stopped rising? She waded through the muck to Nana, who was still perched on the bin, leaning into the corner. Somehow she'd managed to doze off, even with Claire chopping at the ceiling. Claire found the rolled kitchen table in another corner, and she dragged it over and spread a damp sleeping bag on top. "Nana!" Claire shook her grandmother awake and helped her onto the table. Then she pulled a trunk over by the bin, sat down on it, and patted the bin. "Come on up, dog. Get out of the water." Ranger jumped up and sat down. He was soaked, but at least he was with Claire. Claire pulled the legs in tight so she'd fit on the trunk. She read her books, stopping every few chapters to nudge Nana awake and get her to have a drink of water. The attic grew hotter and hotter. Claire turned pages and worried and waited for help, but no one came. She didn't know what time it was, but the light coming through the vent was getting dim, and she was exhausted. Why hadn't her father come back? Where was he? Claire reached for her phone, but it didn't turn on. Somehow, in all her preparations, she'd forgotten to charge it. Claire's eyes burned with tears. She blinked them away and took a few deep breaths. She needed to stay calm. She needed to stay strong. And right now she needed sleep. In the morning, she'd pick up the axe and try again. "Anybody there?" a deep voice called. Claire was asleep, but Ranger heard it. He jumped from the trunk, splashed with the water to the vent, and barked. Claire sat up. The sky was getting light. "What is it, dog?" "Anybody there?" the voice called again. Claire jumped up and ran to the vent and shouted, "We're here! Help, please! We're here!" "Claire?" the man called. Yes, it was her dad's friend, Mr. Robinson. "I'm trapped here with Nana," Claire shouted out in the vent. "I've been trying to break out with an axe, but it's not working." "Hold on," he called. "I'm coming." Something clunked against the house. Claire heard footsteps on the roof. Then a voice from above said, "I have an axe. Stay clear and I'll get you out of there." A few seconds later, there was a loud thwack. Sawdust drifted down from the ceiling. Nana startled awake. "What's happening?" "It's all right, Nana," Claire said, and held up her grandmother's hand. "Mr. Robinson is here. He's cutting a hole in the roof to get us out." Thwack, crack, thunk. Finally, a board broke. Light streamed into the attic from above. Thwack, crack, crash. "Good Lord," Mr. Robinson said, leaning in through the opening he'd made. "I thought y'all decided to leave, but when I saw old Mrs. Jackson on her roof..." "Oh, no!" Claire felt awful. She should have checked on Mrs. Jackson somehow. "Is she all right?" Mr. Robinson nodded. "I've got her in my boat, but where's your dad?" "He went to find gas for the car. He hasn't come back." A hot lump rose in her throat. "No gas for miles," Mr. Robinson said. "My guess he's got stuck out of town. He'll find his way back to you. Don't worry." Claire nodded. Mr. Robinson pointed to the trunk.